over that goes. So make sure you keep subscribing and make sure you're commenting because I do read them. I look at them. I love them. And if you're watching, however, by Facebook or Instagram, hit that follow, hit your like, and if you see that little follow me bar up there, hit that because that adds you to our list and you'll get notifications and let us know. It'll let you know when we go on, and we won't be bugging you with a bunch of notifications. But I promise you, when we go on, you're going to be wanting to hear from us. And then share this with any of your people, your friends, your family, your watch parties, your groups. This is going to be a good teaching because this one I'm going to talk about is the real Jesus. We're going to start talking about a little bit about Christmas and open up some things historically. This is our class tonight. So if you're not up for a class, if you're just looking for something else, you might want to check something else out because this is class. You may hear some things you've never heard before. So if you still believe in Santa Claus, it might not be what you listen to. So, all right, let's go into it. One thing you will notice about when we talk about Christmas, you already know that the Christians hijacked Christmas. You know that, right? They just took December 25th and they made it their own. Jesus, we doubt very seriously that Jesus was born on the 25th of December. Everything we know about Jesus points to somewhere in the spring or when the lambs were born. But they were not, it was not December 25th. We keep forgetting that even over there it gets cold. So shepherds are not abiding in the fields, keeping watch over their flock, freezing on the 25th of December. So we can look at a lot of things. The text bears it out. A lot of historical things bear it out. So don't let that bother you. I don't know if Santa was born on the 25th of December. Maybe he was. I'm not sure. But we do know that it was a date that was celebrated by the Egyptian sun god Ra. And on the 25th of December, that's what the Romans did. They celebrated the birthday of Ra. And they partied. I mean, they partied down. They had parties in Rome like you would not believe. I can't even tell you what they did at their parties. Well, the Christians were saying, can't we have a party too? Can't we have a birthday celebration? Jesus had never said anything about celebrating his birthday. No, God never said anything about celebrating birthdays. Nobody celebrated birthdays. But the Christians wanted to celebrate the birthday of Jesus because they kind of felt, hey, it was almost like a marketing thing. So they figured it this way. Instead of picking up their own day, November 9th or October 8th, or instead of doing that, they took the Egyptian sun god's birthday, December 25th, and they said, we're going to make it Christ's Day. And that's how they made Christmas. So the more they marketed, the more it took it from the sun god Ra, and it became Christmas. So now you know how it started. That's the date. Secondly, another thing we realize is that the Gospels didn't particularly pay that much attention to birth. Now listen to me closely. The Gospel of Mark, which is considered to be the original Gospel in the four Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and the earliest that was basically written around 50 AD, 50 CE is what it's called. If you'll notice, if you go to it and read it, the first chapter does not open up with the birth of Jesus. It just wasn't. It didn't. You don't see the birth of Jesus until you get to Matthew and Luke. And then if you begin to study the birth of Jesus in Matthew and the birth of Jesus in Luke, John was not written till like about 110 CE, another 50 or 60 years later. And you begin to notice that the accounts of Jesus' birth in Matthew and the accounts of Jesus' birth in Luke are different. As a matter of fact, in some areas, they clash. You'll say, is this right? Or is this right? Which one is which? And you see them clash. And so for people who are concerned with facts in 2020, the year we live in right now, we have a problem. We'll have a problem with the Gospels, because you're going to notice in the Gospels, some of the Gospels, and you've read them before, you'll see the same miracles. And some of the miracles say one thing, some of the miracles say another thing. Some may say he touched them. Some may say that he breathed on them. Some may say he spoke to them. Some may say that he didn't speak to them at all. Some may say that Jesus took her hand and raised her up. Some may say that he didn't. He just walked away. Some say that Jesus, when he got up in the morning, that Mary was at the tomb. And then another one will say it was 3 Marys at the tomb, or a lot of different things. And they seem to conflict with each other. And the reason we have a problem with it, especially dealing with that birth of Jesus, is because we are the Fox News, MSNBC, CNN, ABC, CBS, NBC. We are the news people. And we expect, I was getting ready to say, we expect news to be factual. But I don't know, maybe that was a few years ago, but nowadays we're into this whole thing about, oh, it's fake news, fake news. And so you don't always know what's particularly factual. But we do expect our news to be factual. We expect for people to do their homework. We expect for them to put the facts down as best as they can. And when they relay it to us as a factual document. And if they make a mistake, come back and correct what they said and said, we told you yesterday that the dog ate the bone, but we had to come back and tell you that it was not a bone, it was a biscuit. So we want to make sure that we're factual. Well, the Gospels were not written that way. Now, hold your horses. Don't get discouraged and say, you mean to tell me it's all not written? No, that's not what I'm telling you. The Gospels were written for a different reason. The writers 2,000 years ago did not write to be factual, although they had these facts. That's how they wrote the Gospel. They went around to talk to people. Hey, did you see this? Did you see that? Notice the Gospels were written 50, 60 years after Jesus had left this planet. So who do you think they were talking to? They were talking to people, some who were still here, some who were the children of those who were still here, some who were the Christians or the believers, the children of believers at that particular time, and they were still here. So that's how they did it. That's how it worked. So when they wrote this, they were coming to understand that they were writing for a specific reason. And you will find this basically at the end of your Gospels, where it says, this is written that you might believe. So they wrote it that we might understand the mission of Christ. So not to give us the facts, but to let us know why he did it. Notice how Jesus taught. This is what's so beautiful about the whole thing. Jesus taught in parables. What did he talk about? Talked about fish, talked about loaves, talked about agriculture, talked about seeds. He talked about weddings. He talked about marriage. He talked about planting. He talked about uh, a master and someone going out to sow seeds. He talked about everyday life. He talked about the lives of the people around them. And when he spoke to them about the things that they did, he usually told this story and then he sometimes left it with a question, or he just said, a sower went forth to sow. And when he got through with the story, he left it up to them to think about it. Sometimes people forget what Jesus was. Jesus was a sage. Jesus was a teacher of truths. And he didn't always just say, this is what you shall believe. He would always tell the stories and leave it up to people to grasp what it is and how their lives should be. So a baker could understand when you break bread and share it with your friends, it's about breaking a portion of your life. This is what you're going to discover in the Gospels. And this is what the Christmas narrative is about. They were speaking to us, the Gospels were speaking to us about the birth of Christ. Now, what in the world does that mean to us? Does that mean that he was just born? Is that the great part of the story? No. It means that he was born in the middle of times that were challenging. That Christ was born in the middle of Roman rule. Christ was born in the middle of when Judaism was having a tough time holding on to its own religion. Judaism was possibly about to fail as its own religion. The temple was going to be destroyed probably in another 70 years. They realized Jesus was born during times when people's lives were uncertain. Moments and times when they didn't know how their children would fare. They weren't sure how they were going to make the next paycheck. This is what Jesus was born into. And we read, for unto us is given a Savior, which is Christ the Lord. And we realize what this Savior is about. It's not merely to save us from sin so we can go to heaven, but it's realizing in the middle of a tough world, we can find something to hold on to and to grasp. So when we read the story of his birth, we should come away with, wow. Not only was Christ born into the world he was born into 2,000 years ago, but imagine, when I read it, he comes alive in me. Oh, my goodness gracious alive. So he doesn't stay a baby. He's born into every single generation. In your generation, into my generation. He's born into the lives of people who feel broken, hearts that feel as if they can't be mended. He's born into a time when we're not sure, is this a year I'm going to survive? He's born in a time when the finances are tight, when love lives are not quite that sure, people are trying to find each other and they don't know how, they're unsure about things. Christ, this season is about life coming out of uncertainty and unsureness. This is the story of Christ. This is the story of his birth. And then they also tell the story, and we could go on because there's so many different parts of the story. One talks about the wise men. You remember the wise? You know the wise men, right? Yeah. And the wise men, they were, we think about the wise men. Oh boy, there was 3 wise men, and they put it on the Christmas card. In reality, there were more. There was a lot of wise men. And because they came in caravans, could have been 4 or 5 of them. They came in caravans. They came from different cultures. They came from the East. They came from Africa. They came from Asia. They came from so many different. Isn't it interesting how in our culture right now, we are realizing and witnessing people of different cultures and different ages and different beliefs, how they are shifting and changing and entering our culture as never before. We're watching as women are taking their place in our society in such a way that it's blessing our land. We cannot allow ourselves to go back into the dark ages or other political views that take us back into the dark ages. Christmas is about life. It's about Christ coming in to our lives again. Listen, I'm going to give you my final thoughts, but take a moment and make sure that you use your phone and use your text to give, because text to give is one of the ways that you can give to ALC and make a huge difference in the lives of other people. See, this kind of truth and this kind of liberation, you'd be surprised how many people listen to it. And you can look at the views later on, because the views just keep escalating over and over again, because people tell other people about what we're talking about. So you can text to give whatever you want to text. You text it to 713-742-2035. That's 713-742-2035. And you can text $5, $20, $10. Whatever you can text, more than that. Whatever you want to text. If you just saying, I've never done this before, I want to send you $4. Whatever you want to text, send it. Because every bit, everything that you send helps us to keep sending out these messages and spiritual things to people's lives that encourage them. Imagine what you just got, just realizing that Christ is born in your heart today. And also you can use our app. If you don't have our app, download it, because you can listen to our radio show that we do live on Mondays at KTSU here in Houston. And you can listen to it around the nation, around the globe. And it's called The Shift. And you'll be able to listen to the app and get it. And you can also go back and hear some old shows that you might find interesting, and all those other good things. And you can also give on that app and push the donate button on the app, and it'll go there. And also check out our website. So many things are there. You can find out about questions you might have. What is ALC? What is it about? Where you come from? What are you doing? All those different things. You can go to myalc.org, myalc.org, and it will make a difference and open some things up for you. I promise you that. Now, take a moment and realize that life has been given to you. If Christ is born into you and in your heart, that means you are already alive. That's the bottom line. You're alive. Life has started in you. And how do you continue? By just constantly learning and growing and growing and growing. Look, I got to go. I don't know where my time is. I don't want my buzzer to buzz on me. But my time is up today. I know it is. I know it is. But I'm having such a wonderful time talking with you. How are you doing, by the way? How are you dealing with all of these things? How are you dealing? How you dealing with the mask and everything? You all right with that? You're wearing it, aren't you? Right? Let me see. How many of you wearing your mask? Yeah. You wouldn't tell me if you weren't, would you? I mean, I know you don't have it on 24 hours sitting up in your house watching us today, but when you go out to everything you do, wear your mask. They're gonna do 100 days. I said, I think the president-elect is asking for 100 days. I'm thinking y'all do it 120 days. That sounds like that's church talk, upper room talk, to wear your mask for 120 days, and so the power will fall. I believe that we can break the back of this virus. What do you think? Yeah. Look, I take a deep breath. We do some of our meditation techniques here. Take a deep breath. Go ahead. There you go. And you can take your hands, put it in a position like this. Just place it on your knees. I call this the reception position. And learn it. And as you inhale, count to 4. Hold it for like 1, 2, 3. Release it, count into 4 again. Do that about 5 times when you do that in the morning. It's a good way to meditate. And it teaches you how to relax and just let your mind just clear. Focus on your breathing. It will make a huge difference. You come out of it and let go and remember that this is the day that the Lord has made. Rejoice, be glad in it. Look, live long, live strong. We love you. Bye-bye. Hello, I'm Ed Montgomery. 2020 is a year we will never forget. Years ago, I watched my 14-year-old daughter transition after a battle with cancer. And even in this year, I watched my wife of 45 years transition. And this has not been an easy thing. But if there's one thing that we have learned over 40 years of ministry, it is the fact that as you give out, as you speak healing to others, as you encourage others, then that healing comes back to you. I know, sometimes you don't feel like doing it, but that's the way life works. What you give out comes back to you. I want to say thank you for everything you've done, your prayers, your encouragement, your emails, your chats, all of those things. And I also want to say thank you for your contributions. And I want to say to those of you that have not been in the physical building for a while, that's all of us, because none of us have been in a physical building. We won't be going there for a while, but we will get there. But the bottom line is this. Church is where we gather. Church is us when we come together in our words and our hearts and our friendships and our remembrances come together as one. It is our job in the world we live in. There's so much chaos, so much division, so many people talking so many people down. I think this is where we should come together and be one voice to lift people up. Will you help me do that? Here's how you can do it. Click that donate button. And I promise you, it's safe, it's secure, it's quick. And when you click it, you will make a decision what I want to give, what I want to share. But your sharing will help others to become a little bit better at living their lives. You can use your text message. You can use all of those different things. But whatever you use, make sure you do it today. Do it now, because this is so crucial in 2020. Yep, things are not going to get better overnight. As a matter of fact, as much as I hate to say it may get worse before it gets better. But you know what? Even in the middle of all of it, together, we're going to get through to the other side. Listen, thank you again for everything you do. I'm looking forward to seeing your name. Thank you. Bless you. Love you.